Hi friends, welcome back to the channel. I don't know if you watched the Grammys the other night. I am not a big award show fan. I think award shows like the Grammys are passe at best and socially toxic at worst. And personally, I actually think that we should probably do away with all award shows and find some other way to acknowledge the great talent that we have in the entertainment industry. Something not so old school. So once again, the Grammys have occurred and apparently there were a lot of really great moments. I watched the highlights on YouTube afterwards like everybody else who doesn't pay for cable. And you know, the Christine McVie tribute was lovely. The Bad Bunny opening was pretty cool. Like, whatever. Now let's talk about Beyonce, because that's the big news, isn't it? I saw this article on the day of the Grammys while they were doing that like pre-show thing that they do that said that Beyonce only had to win 2 more Grammys in order to be the artist who won the most Grammys in the history of the award. Then the show happened and she did, of course, break the record, and Lizzo went upstage and sang her praises. And obviously I totally agree with her. I think Beyonce is incredible, and I think that as a millennial woman, she means a lot to me and always will. Harry Styles went on to win Album of the Year for Harry's House, which, you know, whatever, I thought was totally fine. To be honest with you, I didn't really agree or not agree because, as I said before, I'm kind of the opinion that award shows are passe and irrelevant anyway. Then I saw an article yesterday, the morning after the award show, entitled, "Beyonce broke the Grammys record. It's not good enough." And I thought, I don't know if I agree or disagree. Let's get into it. First of all, let's rewind the clock back about 10 years to when Beyonce released her groundbreaking, iconic self-titled album, Beyonce. By the time this album came out, B was no spring chicken in the industry. It was her 5th solo album, and this is after a number of years that she spent in Destiny's Child. She was already an icon at this point. People were weeping at her shows, and the now infamous online army known as the Beehive, please don't come for me, was starting to grow. So it's 2013, and Beyonce is enjoying being a new mother after the birth of her daughter Blue Ivy Carter just about a year earlier. Her 4th album, 4, was almost 2 years old, and the remix version was reaching its birthday too. It was time for new music. At the time, she was getting a lot of criticism from a lot of different angles. There was a lot of talk about her husband Jay-Z and how he was running her career. But it was this criticism that would ignite something in Beyonce that had been bubbling for some time. This is the same woman who, only 3 months after giving birth, insisted on doing a live performance concert just to prove that women didn't have to interrupt their lives when they had babies. So she's pissed off about this chatter on the internet, and she wakes up one morning with a chant in her head. Bow down, bitches, bow down, bitches. This chant led to the first single that she would release in over a year. The iconic Bow Down, I've Been On, which dropped unexpectedly on her SoundCloud account and on YouTube as a music video. The song was more aggressive sounding than anything she'd ever done, just shattering any previous image she had of Sasha Fierce, or as the lovesick representative of young femininity that she was known for before. The video was iconic. She was introducing herself as the new queen, and all of us, we bowed the down. Shortly afterwards, she released her album Beyonce in a surprise drop that had the whole world with their jaws on the floor. Dropping surprise albums and visual albums is a common thing these days, but Beyonce invented it, and the lead track was the earth-shattering Drunk in Love, featuring her husband. Highly sexualized and ultimately overshadowed by her own spit on the microphone. The entire following year, the whole world was in love with Beyonce. To say that 2013 was her year would be a massive understatement. She was a queen. Everyone had her album in their headphones. I knew every word to every song, and I wasn't even that big of a fan of hers before that point. It made me feel powerful and seen as a woman and as an artist. And I might be so bold as to say that this record was really a huge part of the conversation that started about real equality for women in the world, something that eventually would lead to the Me Too movement in 2017. At the 2014 Grammys, B's album did not meet the deadline for qualification, so she just performed instead, and this performance was off the charts. It was her and Jay-Z, and maybe the hottest performance between a husband and wife ever on TV. Another whole year goes by, and this time the Grammy shows up and Beyonce is nominated for a whole bunch of awards, including Album of the Year. And let's not forget her performance of Take My Hand, Precious Lord, which, as lovely as it may have been, probably should have been performed by the original singer of the song when it was featured in the 2015 film Selma, Ledisi Annabelle Young, who portrayed the iconic soul singer Mahalia Jackson, the person who originally sang the song back in 1965, in support of Martin Luther King Jr.'s march from Selma to Montgomery. Anyways, one of the awards that Beyonce was nominated for, of course, was Best Album, and everybody in the world thought that she was a shoo-in for the winner. That album was so culturally significant, there was no way that the Grammys were not going to recognize her for that. So when Prince went up to announce the award for Best Album and read Morning Phase by Beck as the winner, it was an upset. And none other than the music industry's resident clown, Kanye West, said exactly what everyone was really thinking. everything in probably the least tasteful way possible, but that's Kanye, right? So whether you agree with what Kanye said or not, it's been pretty universally accepted at this point that Beyonce probably should have won that award. No diss to Beck, he's an incredible artist with a beautiful career. But that album, Beyonce, that was the definition of iconic. That album changed everything in the music industry going forward, and it set Beyonce up for the next phase of her career, which would produce many dramas, but many opportunities for accolades as well. And so in 2017, it would happen again, when Beyonce's album Lemonade, another otherworldly collection of songs that would help define our generation, was snubbed yet again for Album of the Year when Adele won instead. And in that moment, when we saw Adele cry on stage and tell Beyonce that it was her who should have won and that it was really her award, it made us see that the outrage would be a little bit different this time against the Grammys and all award shows for the way that they have perpetually denied the contributions of the Black community in America. So it's 2023. Things are different now. We've been through a pandemic, and millennials are now the old folks looking down at the Gen Zs who are so much cooler than us. And lo and behold, 41-year-old Beyonce's album is nominated for Album of the Year, and 29-year-old Harry Styles wins the Grammy instead. So let me know what you think in the comments. I'm really fascinated. And don't forget to like and subscribe, because I will definitely see you in the next one.